Hi guys, in this video I'm going to build a new level for the platformer and possibly a new entity type, and if there is enough time, maybe a small minigame. We'll see. So far we've got multiple levels actually. These levels are designed in the tiled editor, which I then parse which the TMX files are loaded into FXGL and parsed through these factory creating, entity creating methods defined in our factory. So far we've got this, and it is essentially a simple platformer where we can double jump, and the idea is to get from one side of the level to the other. And instead of building several levels, I thought maybe I could have a single, reasonably interesting level to build. And each level will have certain new obstacles. So in this level, the new thing I've added was these question boxes. When you come close to them, they will ask you a question, and if you enter an incorrect answer, they will not allow you to pass through. If you do enter the correct answer, they will disappear, so essentially allowing you to pass. And you can create slightly more complex questions. So it kind of generalizes to, you could have clues in the level, and then based on those clues you might ask some questions, so the player can then figure out the answer. We also have this explosive box which doesn't really explode. There is no logic to what happens when they collide. It just prints collision to the terminal. And we have these destructible boxes. When you tap on them or click on them, I refer to tapping because this is supposed to be mobile friendly. And when mobile port is enabled in FXGL 11, then it should be super easy to port this Mario clone. So when you click on them, they sort of disappear. Coin type, which doesn't really do anything, just shows plus 100, whatever that is. There is also the portal type. There are two of these entities in the level, and they're linked. You go through one and you come out on the other end. So these destructible boxes are also supposed to work as platforms. So the kind of gameplay here is that not to allow or trick the player to destroying all of them, but actually some of them are necessary to progress. So that one, if I had destroyed that one, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm currently doing. Each level has an exit door that you need to get to the next level, and usually there is an area in the game with which you collide to enable that door. So currently we can't actually see that thing because it's invisible, it doesn't have a view. But if I go to the developer menu, I should be able to find it, or to show the bounding box around it. So you can see that there is an entity here with a bounding box, but doesn't have a view, so you can't actually see it in game. So if I disable this, there's nothing in there. I need to fix that thing. Right. So when I collide with it, the door appears, and I can go through the door now to get to the next level. And that's level 1, actually. This is why it's so simple. What I typically do is have level 0 as the development level. I should really rename it to something like template rather than level 0, so that you can easily kind of build levels, and then when they're fully built, you just rename it to a level whatever. Currently we have 16 levels, and the one I'm building today I suppose is going to be level 17. You can follow the development of the level alongside this video, I suppose. I would suggest that you build a slightly different level, because I'll be uploading this to GitHub anyway, so what's the point of having two identical levels? So if you can build something that is different to what I'm going to build in this video, that could be cool, because you can then pull a request to the repository so that I can add your level too. And if there's enough submissions, we might even have almost like a full game demo on our hands, which could be cool. Right, so here are all the levels, the TMX files. They're under Resources, Assets, Levels, TMX. Just double click on one of them, and if you have tiled installed, I have version 123, so that should work. Just double click on that, and it should find the sprite sheet, because it's it's in the same directory. Right. Also, I've downloaded a sprite sheet for a zombie. Well, I've downloaded these separate images and I've put them in one sprite sheet, because at the moment FXGL can only read from one sprite sheet to generate animation channels. It cannot yet read from separate images, which is an open issue. So what I'd like to do is to make this an enemy type. I already started experimenting with the animation size, because the initial image is pretty big, so I needed to kind of scale it down. So yeah, this is what it looks like. I think the scale is about right. The protagonist is supposed to be small anyway. So if I can make this my enemy, then I would consider this video a success, I suppose. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Right. I'm going to keep this as is. I'm going to remove that into some other component, which I don't have yet. Right, what's the first thing I need to do? Let's start with the simplest thing. I need to have an entity type called enemy. Done. What? Oh, do I already have one? Okay. Is it used anywhere? Enemy box, it says. I suppose that's the explosive box thing. Fine. Yeah, let's keep that for now. But I do need a different spawn, because the name of it is going to be different. And the entity view and all of that thing is going to be different to an enemy box. Enemy zombie. There we go. Entity builder type enemy from data, that is correct. Bounding box is going to be different. There shouldn't be an enemy box component. For now, let's just give it a view of a new rectangle so I can see it in the game. Make it 100, 100, and color red. Maybe 50, 100. So I now am able to spawn this new entity type. Well, this is the type, and this is the kind of key that I can use in tiled, and FXGL will then parse it correctly. I'm going to copy that, get into tiled, and so this is my level 0, so I can edit this as much as I want. For now, I just want to get rid of some of this stuff so I can get my enemy thing going. Can I delete this? No, that's an object. How do I delete an object? Just put it somewhere. Remove that, move that away. Okay, so I have this clean-ish board where I'm going to place my enemy. So it's a new object, which is that. So if I do this, type this enemy, enemy zombie. And this is the type that will be used by FXGL to spawn an entity. How many pixels is that? That's 140. Can I reduce this? There must be a way to not snap to grid. Snapping. Snap to pixels. .530. Yeah, because I think my height is it 100? Yeah, I think it's 100 for the enemy. In which case that should work. Eventually, once I get this working, I think I would want it to be patrolling type enemy, so it moves from one place to the other and then comes back. So I don't think there should be any kind of physics involved. It could just be a simple component that makes it move. Let's see. So I've saved this. I should just be able to load it as is. I should have a red rectangle. Yeah, so that's my enemy. I still have this animation on my player, which I will remove. I think, yeah, kind of fits, doesn't it? Almost. So if I do this, I will need a separate component for that. I'm going to steal some of the player's code. Right, so if I copy that, place this as enemy zombie component. There is only one animation channel. As we said, it's just going to keep moving. There's no idle. That's that. I can now get rid of that from my player's code. Keep it clean. What are these imports for? Right. On ground, all of that is not needed. There is no physics involved, so that is not needed. Jumps, no. There's literally just the texture and the walk, and it's just looped. Yeah, I'm happy with that. There's no on ground. Scale origin, that needs to be correctly put. So it's supposed to be the center. So that gives me the width. Divided by 2 gives me the center of that. The height is that, divided by 2. I'm just using these numbers. On update, well, there shouldn't be an update, I don't think, not for now anyway. And it just needs to know, yeah, it's patrolling, right? So it needs to go from one place, if I open this, it's to go from here to, say, here. And because it needs to be specified for each of the entities of type enemy zombie probably needs to have a custom property called patrol and X. Could be int. So if I use the convention, it starts as moving right, and then it gets to, say, here. Can I query the X of that? That's 560 plus 70. That's 630, 700, 770, 840-ish. Provided all the calculations are correct. And then I could query this property in code, which is awesome. Quite like how FXGL parses all of these fields into code. And patrol and X. And we'll pass that when we're creating it. Factory, new zombie, I'm going to query patrol and X from the data, which should be literally just that, patrol and X. Going to use this to create my new component. So I'm currently going to move right initially. Shall I steal some of the code from the left component? Because left kind of does the same thing, but vertically. Yeah, let's do that. I probably need to have a generic component that says kind of horizontal or vertical lift component, so I can then pass in going horizontally or vertically. Otherwise there's code duplication that I don't want to have. So this goes, where's my unadded? This goes here. Don't need that. My unupdate should probably be here. It's going right is true, going up is not needed. So if timer elapsed, then we switch back to going left. If going right, X is plus speed, and if not going right, then minus speed. I can also do the same thing with scaling. Entity set scale X. Going right is 1, not minus 1. So there's no need to do this anymore. I don't think we need this either. Distance can be computed from that, right? Distance is patrol and X minus. Ooh, I don't have an X yet because there is no entity associated with it at this point. Okay. Well, I do have it here, right? Just entity get X. And finally, the duration is what I need, I think. Duration. I don't know. I'll probably need to play around with it. Let's set duration to 2 seconds. Let's see how this works. Okay. Yeah, it's doing something. Probably need to ground him a little bit more. So if I can offset his Y by a small amount, so that his feet are on the ground rather than floating in the air. I think that's alright. There's probably a way to improve it by tweaking values of duration and how fast he's going. But so far so good. Just move this slightly, 540, like this. Height is, I suppose, doesn't really matter because I can just not read it and use my own height to determine or to put the bounding box. Currently there is no bounding box. There's no need for a rectangle either. The bounding box should be how big is the frame? It's that and 390 divided by 4. It's that and 390 divided by 4. This is how big each frame is of the animation. I should be able to tweak it a little bit using the develop menu so I can see how big the bounding box is. Still a bit high. Did that even make any difference? No, that's not what I need. This is what I need. No, I think the bounding box is pretty much perfect. I just need to bring him down to the ground. Oh, I didn't save this. That's why. No, he's too close to the ground. He's falling through it. So 5 pixels up. 535. Yeah, and the height doesn't matter because it's not being read anyway. There we go, that's better. If I collide with him, yeah, collision. Because the enemy type I already had for these explosive boxes somewhere. There we go. So it's exactly the same behavior. It's quite nice how something just generalizes without you even thinking about it. So the collision with this guy has the same effect as the collision with that other type, because they're both technically our enemy types. I could have subtype thing where I could kind of start categorizing enemy and then zombie enemy and explosive box enemy and something else. But for now that is fine. Now I just need to figure out a way how to deal with this guy and what powers the player will have to defeat these. Don't know, because I haven't got any kind of projectile or any kind of... The player basically can't do anything at this point. You just jump. I don't really want to turn this into a jump thing, so that I have to jump on him to defeat him. Right, I'll keep that in mind for now. So I've got this going, that is pretty much done. I think it works as intended. Let's have 2 enemies up. That's enemy 1. That's enemy 2. And if I can update his value do something like, so patrol of that is 840, so it goes somewhere here. This is placed at 1100. Should really be 535. If I can move his patrol end X to 1500. What was the difference between the thing? 560 and 840. That's about 300-ish pixels. That's 400. I think it was 280 to be precise, but let's do 300 pixels and see if it has any effect. They should still be walking at relatively the same speed. It's also very difficult to jump over because of the bounding blocks. And because they start at the same time, because they're moving, they're walking almost the same distance, it looks odd. So I need to get them out of sync. Let's try something larger. So the first guy, or the second guy, actually needs to walk a lot further. Oh yeah, I forgot. There's a thing on there that I need to remove. It's a lot faster now because he needs to walk the same. He needs to walk a lot further, but he has the same timer. Yeah, that is why we're starting and finishing at the same time. Anyway, that can be tweaked. All I need to figure out now is how to defeat them. So I can kind of jump over them without hitting them. I don't know if I want that to be the mechanic. I suppose it could be. This is something like you have to go under, and this is something you have to go over in order to pass. Although I keep getting hit. Bounding box is too big. What does it look like? Yeah, it needs to be smaller than the image. So that it's a bit simpler for the player to perform this feat. Can we make it 1010, and that means I need to subtract 20 and 20, I think, because it works both ways, right? So their box should be smaller. Yeah, it's a bit smaller, and maybe move the box closer to the ground rather than centralize it, in which case it will be easier to jump over, and you'll definitely have to do a double jump thing. Also, there's going to be a bit of skill possibly involved, because you can't just do, you have to kind of time it. Which could be a thing, could be a game mechanic. You never know. Right, so we don't need to do this, we'll just do that. Actually, no, that won't work. It'll just make the bounding box higher. Now let's do this. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Even though the bounding box doesn't quite align, it doesn't really matter. Because if you collide with this thing, in the actual game, you're supposed to be dead anyway. And because it's not a physics world controlled object, it doesn't really matter. It's supposed to be quite fast because it uses the internal FXGL physics engine rather than the JBox engine. So you jump, and then move, instead of moving and jumping. I think that's the key to this. Yeah, that's fine. Right. So we've got our enemy. In order to defeat the enemy, we need to double jump. Well, we're not going to be defeating them. At this point, we don't have any powers. We might do sometime, eventually, but not now. And this is a message box, which I'm assuming, if I can move this guy slightly further here, I need to make sure it's snapped to 535. And if I can get the message thing, I don't need to snap anything else to pixels, snap to grid is fine. So this is the message prompt type, which has this message thing that I can edit, which is then shown in the game when you collide with it. So, which are like tips to the player, hints, as it were. Shall we say, jump over zombies to avoid being hit or something? Let's try that. Okay, jump over zombies to avoid being hit. Seems sensible. Almost got hit there. Yep. Got this guy, and now with this, oh yeah, there we go. Probably need a bit of getting used to. So it's jump, jump, and then move. Jump, jump, move. There we go. That works. Oh yeah, that thing. And then go under. Kill these. You actually need to wait until they completely disappear. Collect that. Move here. Oh yeah, there's nothing in there. Okay, I'm going to fix that. And I'm not going to keep the layout anyway, because that's from the level, from the previous level. Right, so how do we make this level interesting? I don't know. Well, we've just taught the player how to avoid these guys. I'll just throw in 1 or 2 enemy boxes in here. So they'll have to be avoided also. Platform-wise, let's just remove all of this. And then we'll see what we're going to do. So the player starts here, jumps over here, he will get hit by this thing, telling the player to avoid these guys. Then the player will jump over them and get to this point, and maybe something like this. That, and then, oh yeah, that could be interesting. So here's the platform, and we'll just populate this, because you won't be able to jump twice the size of a tile. So the player will need to destroy these things before he can get to this point, or at least the first one. So that is a platform, so we can then possibly drop down here, get here, and then get portaled to a different place, somewhere, I don't know, somewhere here. So we don't need that. These are question boxes. Let's keep one of them, one of the question boxes. Yeah, just right here. That's perfect, because you won't be able to avoid that, so I have to go through. The question is, I don't know. Let's try this. How many zombies did you encounter? Answer is 2, because there were 2. That's a pretty simple question, but you know, it works. These are the explosive thingies which don't explode, but that's fine. So the player comes through this thing, place it right here, and then the player will need to go through this, possibly jump through to that, and maybe do this. These are all platforms, right? Sometimes it's difficult to tell. I don't assign names, because names, I think, are supposed to be unique things, and type is the generic thing. So these are all platforms. Well, I could make this add a name, specific unique name to it, and then sort of differentiate, maybe add a certain functionality that is not applicable to other platforms. And this is where the exit trigger is. So whenever this thing is crossed by the player, then the door will appear. And I'll place the door, I guess, just move it down. I think that's it. Just move these things here, and then we'll see what to do with these things. That's a question box we don't need. What is that thing? That's a coin. We don't need the coin in this level. This is... that could be interesting. Actually, no. How about that? And we don't need this one. So the player does this kind of thing, gets to this portal, gets spawned here, moves along, then double jumps, collects that, and off he goes. We do need some visuals there now. So yeah, if you're interested, feel free to build new levels for that. I'll be quite interested to see what you come up with. There's a bunch of stuff available from other levels, so if you're interested, just pick one of those levels and use that as a basis for your new level. And then all you need to do is just test it out. If it works, that's fine, and just send me a pull request through GitHub. That's that. And there's just one more thing, which is these two. Okay, these two platforms. That, and the left side. No, not that one. That one. Cool. Save. Go. And there's also a bunch of stuff here that I will get rid of in a moment. Jump over zombies to avoid being hit. Jump. Jump. It's quick. So I can't jump here. Yep, that's perfect. I need to destroy that one. And the rest are fine. I can't pass through. I need to answer the question. How many zombies did you encounter? 3? Nope. 2. Yes. Go here. avoid that. Double jump, another jump. Hit the exit trigger, this door appears, and now avoid that, and on to the next level. Oh, cool, so I could have passed it in just under 44 seconds, which is fine, so I don't need to update that. By the way, this is the level end screen, which gives you the medals, and you need to pass the level under a particular amount, and that number is in the map properties, I think. Map properties, there you go, *1 time. So you only need to write 1 time, which is for *1, which is the quickest you can finish the level. I think the next level should really extend to 1 minute at least, so that they're progressively getting larger and larger. So that was level 0. If I go to here, that's level 1. And level 1 takes 7 seconds, or less than that, to complete. Level 2, and so on. What do I need to do now? Well, that's it really. I'll just copy that and rename it as level 17. Actually, no, first of all, I need to get rid of these things. That's platform that I don't need. That is also a platform. Yeah, that's reasonably simple-ish level. I don't think this is particularly a particularly interesting level, but at least it's got some new entity types, which are enemies. And if you want, feel free to create new entity types. You've seen that it's reasonably easy to do. So what you do is define your entity type here in Mario type. You go to Mario Factory and create just one of those methods to basically tell FXGL how to create your entity. And the final thing is to actually place the entity possibly as an object. Well, yeah, it has to be an object, right? So yeah, as an object somewhere here, and it will be parsed into an entity. Okay, at this point, I think I've got all I need to do. I don't think I'll have time to do any mini games, but it's something that I have in mind. I'll possibly create an issue for it on FXGL so that I can create a specific module for it that will deal with mini games, like lockpicking in Skyrim, for example. Right, thanks for watching, and don't forget to vote on the next video.